Hello, Internet, and welcome back to Yas Talk with me, Miz Diamond Wigfall, your host. And obviously, with me this week is our producer, Randyll. Yay!
Hey.
I'm so excited to have you.
I know, this is so funny being on this side of the table.
I know,
instead of behind my curtain, my window, Wizard of Oz like.
It is. You are the wizard. You are the Wizard of Peabody TV. That makes so much sense. How are you doing? How are you doing?
I'm good. I have my T-Rex sweater on. Very festive.
We went festive today. We went festive today. You were like, oh, I'm going to wear a holiday sweater. I was like, I got the right outfit.
Yeah, it's so funny because I'm not like necessarily like a Christmas person. I love Halloween.
Yeah.
I have a younger sister who's like deeply invested in Christmas.
Interesting.
Her room is like Christmas themed year round. It's really, and I'm like Halloween town over here. So it's like we're two very, different ends of the same coin. But
that's fun though.
Yeah.
I feel like, I like the holidays. Like I like the idea of being with family and doing all these things. I don't like Christmas exactly, but who doesn't love the movie Elf? And if people don't like the movie Elf, I'm concerned.
Okay, but I don't like the movie Elf.
Why? Why?
And it has nothing to do with Will Ferrell. It was
What
just like,
is it? What's wrong?
I had a friend who just would quote the entire movie whenever I would ever watch it with her. It was her favorite movie whenever the holiday in like high school, obsessed with it. And like it got so bad. One time her family asked her to leave the room while watching it. But I love the investment because like I would do the same thing with Scream. Like I'm over here doing the same thing with Scream. And I'm like, oh my God. But so I can't be too judgmental, but like that experience did kind of tarnish it.
Do you know
me.
Scream like inside and out? Like could you quote most of it?
I could quote probably like my favorite lines, but I'm not that deep.
When we did it for the Shadowcast like years ago, there's
I wish
one.
I saw it.
It was fun.
Yeah.
But there's one line that what's his face? Shaggy from Scooby Doo. What's his name?
Oh, Stu.
Matthew Lillard.
Matt
Stu.
Lillard, yeah.
He says
Stu.
something really silly, like when they're leaving school, like "Agi Gecker School Izzy," like something like that, like some.
Oh
weird,
yes, I remember that.
What is that?
Yeah.
I was like,
I
you don't know the line.
What that sound was.
Right.
Yeah.
It's some weird line, and I'm always like, there's like, what? Who okayed that? Who was like, you know what? That's going in the movie.
Yeah.
Scream is so campy.
I love it so much. It's like my favorite horror movie.
Yeah.
I do have like my ghost face tattoo, and I'm like thinking about expanding upon that. But I literally love them all so much. Even the third one's like a little bit like unpolished. It is what it is.
I mean, the second one is a huge like step in like decline in. Yeah, I did not like it.
I liked the second one.
No way.
I really did. There was something about like the fight scenes, like Courtney Cox when they were in the studio booth and everything.
Yes.
Ghostface was on the other side.
Okay.
And then I love Randy. So like that's the last movie he's in.
Yeah.
If you didn't know, you should catch up on these movies.
Yeah, it's been like almost 20 years, so hopefully you can catch up.
But
I haven't seen any of the new ones. Like I haven't seen any of the Jenna Ortega. I haven't seen any of those.
I liked the first rebooted one, but I wasn't really vibing the most recent one that came out.
Okay.
When they were in New York
City,
and I just wasn't.
That's so silly.
There was like a lot of things, and like also like some of the ghost face reveals that I just thought it was
New
kind
York
of
City's
silly.
scary enough. Like you don't like. Honestly, there already is a million ghost faces walking around New York City. Like, you don't need Ghostface in New York City. Like, to me, that's, like, the combo we never needed.
They did have, like, a cool opening scene. I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, Drew Barrymore, like, made that, And so I feel like each movie has to have a really good opening scene. Just to, like, try to follow that. But it's so iconic and memorable.
When we did it, we had Maxine's best friend, Shauna. And she was so incredible as Drew Barrymore. Like, and it's, like, a long scene. It's, like, almost 10 minutes long. Like, it's a really long...
I love her sweater.
Yeah. I mean, she had every prop ready to go. Like, she knew every moment, like, so well, and it was so funny. Like, I look back on that, and if I was to do one of the Shadowcasts again, like, I would want to do Scream just because, shout out to Shauna, so she can just do that one scene again. Just so I can see her with the fake popcorn fire and, like, doing all this stupid stuff. Like,
I would have loved
it was
that,
really good.
How long ago was that? Because I think that was before I knew you. That must have been a while. Because I feel like I would have been there.
2021 or 2022. Like, it had been in the first year that we started doing drag here.
Okay,
like,
that
more,
makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I didn't see you I don't think until like New Year's 2022.
So that's where we met. So where did we meet?
Or
Let's talk about that.
I think, well, I kept going to your shows like over and over again with a friend. I think it was like 2 years ago. So we're in 2024 now. So it must have been 2022.
2022.
Yeah. Yeah, your New Year's Eve at Bit Bar was the first thing that
Yep.
like I ever like saw you all in and performing.
Interesting.
And then from that, I just kept going to like Gulu, Bit Bar, really local. And then I even saw you at a Newburyport show because I was working at Newburyport at the time.
Right.
Yeah.
You went on the boat, right?
Yeah, I went on the boat.
Pride in the Port.
Yeah, and then I remember going up to you a few times. I have a photo with you actually in my phone.
My God.
And then I got the job at Peabody TV, and I was like not working in community access in Ipswich, much closer to Salem, and I was like, I wonder if they would do something with me.
Yeah,
and
of
so
course.
I reached out to you, and I was like, I think they are doing so much for our community. And being a Salem resident myself, like I could see that impact and I could feel that.
Thank you.
Too. Like it was like one of the first spaces. It was the first space that I really felt like this is my community. This is where I belong.
Yeah.
So it was so nice to kind of work with you and kind of, make that documentary and do the podcast.
I know.
And kind of everything that's come after that.
And maybe other things that are going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, we could maybe talk about a little bit. But
Yeah.
so you as a artist, like what's your journey with film? Like what's your journey with how you got to like be able to work with public access TV? Because you said you had an English minor, and I was like, that has nothing to do with film and editing. But talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, so I kind of I started like playing around with video in middle school, making some stuff with like my friends in the neighborhood that are super silly, scripted, kind of like off of favorite books and stuff, like whatever we would take from and try to copy and parody at
like
that time.
Sketch comedy.
Okay,
stuff. Cool.
And then, I also had like little movies and stuff that I would like. So I would like make fan edits, which were like very cringy, and I've privated all those videos. But yeah, I wanted to I really liked English a lot in high school. And I was like, I'm going to be like a journalist and maybe do some creative writing and something like that. I was like, figure that path out. So I went to college initially to be like a screenwriter or journalist or something like that.
Interesting.
And then, it was always editing that I really loved.
Yeah.
So I ended up like doing an internship. I'm from Ipswich, so at the Ipswich Access Station.
Okay.
And then, I finished my internship and I just kind of kept working with them, like part-time and stuff like that, doing little gigs and stuff. And then I was like, whoa, I can make this a major. And so I majored in communication and film and still kept that English minor because I still liked those classes and being creative and having that outlet in another way. So that was a lot of fun. And then I did radio in college. And, from Ipswich, I worked at, Bedford Community Access and Newburyport. And then I landed here, which was really great for me.
I feel like you're thriving here. Like, you're so cool,
Yeah.
and you've been able to do so much. Like, everyone is just, like, continually impressed with everything that you produce and everything you create. And
it's really nice to hear.
It's impressive,
Yeah.
and you make so many beautiful connections with everyone because, like, you are actually somebody who sees things in real life and tries to amplify it, like, with what you can do versus, like, there are a lot of people that just want a piece of it. Or, I don't know, like, I feel like whatever you do, any art that you produce over here is just in such a community-based way. Yeah. And it's beautiful. Like, I'm very honored to be a part of it. I'm honored that you have seen anything in me to, like, want to create a podcast.
There's so much in you. Oh, my God.
But it's I'm really grateful for it because... Yeah. These things, like, we're in this beautiful studio here. Like, this is not easy. Like, it's not accessible to many people. Many people can't. How many people want to start a podcast but don't actually have the actual resources to? Like, all the Hometown Queeros are, like, eternally grateful for everything you've given us because you've made us so much more accessible to people. And, like, that's incredible. That's something that you can't even, like, I don't know. Like, there are no words for how grateful we are for everything you've done for us. So.
Well, I'm very grateful for you all because you have given me, again, that sense of community, and I have made so many friends at you guys are all my friends. I've made so many other friends at your shows, so it's so nice to have that sense of community. But you make a good point. Like, a lot of people don't think that they have that access to resources, but I think that's what the great thing community access is. In every town there is one, but it's so overlooked, and people most of the time don't know what community access is.
Right.
And it's most of the times it's free or small portion to pay for a membership.
Yeah, you can get a membership.
And then you have people who are helping you to build your foundation for your own voices and stuff. And so it's very much so overlooked. But I think there's so much, like, we offer classes to adults, to kids. That's a big part of my job is I do a lot of the teaching here.
I was going to say, you do so much, like, for more than just, like, the Hometown Queeros and your projects. Like, you run classes for kids, like, all the time. You're like, oh, I'm teaching today, or I have to go do... And you guys are filming so many things for the community all the time. Like, what is, like, your favorite part of your day? Like, when you have a day, like, you have a shoot, you have editing, you have a class, like, what is the thing that you're like, oh, I'm so looking forward to doing this part of my job today?
I don't know, I love all the opportunities where I get to be creative, and it really depends on my week and what's going on in regard to whether I would rather have to have a camera in my hand or, like, have a chill day, catch up on the editing. But I would say my favorite part is I just really work with great people. Like, coming in and knowing that Nick and Stefan are here and we can catch up and be like, hey, what's going on?
They're
and, like,
also
we laugh
fun.
all the time. So I think definitely, like, having that, like, work relationship and have friendship has been, like, really impactful to my growth here. And that's been really great. It was so funny. We were all in the media lab, which we have all of our computers in, and we had some high school interns there. And me and Stefan were in there, and we were like, we poke fun at each other. And it's like, that's like the banter. We love banter here at Peabody TV.
Who doesn't love camp?
And they were like, wow, you're really like brother and sister. And I'm like, it's really like a family at the station, which is cool in comparison to some other places I've worked at. So it's nice to have that.
I mean, I feel the same with the Hometown Queeros. I don't think I'd be able to do as much as I do and, like, get as much amazing things done if it wasn't for us being friends and actually wanting to support each other in that way. And, like, you know, when people are there to help you live your dreams, like, you know, you guys are, like, some amazing ragtag bunch of people. Like, I want to, before we get into what we're working on, I want to ask you, what was the process of, like, wanting to do a documentary about the Hometown Queeros, and, like, what was your, like, this is the story that needs to be told right now? Or I don't know, like, because it was such a big undertaking. We filmed for a while. Like, so, and how, like, tell me about that process.
Yeah, it was just, it was kind of me. I came here and, you know, I was given, like, you know, you're going to be teaching programming, you're going to be working with kids, working with adults. And then I kind of went to my supervisors and I was like, hey, like, I think there's this great group, you know, in Salem right next door. We're the North Shore. It doesn't have to be Peabody specific.
Right.
And actually, it kind of worked out because Maxine and Michael are from Peabody. So, and I believe Michael even took classes here as a kid too.
Oh,
so
my,
that's
of
like
course.
iconic. I was like, no way you did, Michael. That's
we gotta
so
get
fun.
her in drag taking a class. Doing that would be so funny.
So, so I just kind of went to them because again, I was like, this group like has really made me find my own community.
Mm-hmm.
All of you have done like so much for me personally in regards to like me finding my own value and my you know, my bisexuality too, and who I am, just like as an, you know, just always like you always are saying something to me that's like I'll like amplifying me. You are like literally encouraging me all the time.
Of
and
course.
so is like Buster and so is everyone else.
Yeah.
And so I love working with you all because you're so warm. So it was just kind of like it just made sense to reach out to you. It just kind of made sense for me at that point of where I was in my life and seeing the reactions of other people and talking to those other people at the show.
Yeah.
So it just made sense.
And have you produced a documentary before? Was this your first whack at a documentary?
This was my first whack at a documentary. Yeah.
Great job.
So
Holy crap.
So I'm really happy that, you know, I was able to kind of like give you guys a different platform in a different way.
Yeah, it was so different because I feel like a lot of people they see us and they see us in the show and that's like one version of us. Then there's like the version of us that are like the business people and the artists. And then there's like without all the makeup on and without everything. And I feel like you did a really great job of capturing like our spirit And I feel like that's hard to come across on camera. Like there's only so much that you can do. I think the podcast does a great job at that too. You're wonderful at capturing like great moments in the conversation, and the editing of it is always so wonderful.
How this is like a lot of compliments for me.
Of course. This should be a whole 45-minute just we love Randyll.
I'm going to be like leaving with such a big head later. I'm going to be like, oh, I'm pretty awesome.
You are. I mean, you do a wonderful job. So as a filmmaker, you have done documentaries, you're teaching, you're here. Let's briefly talk about, but we won't go super into it, like our next phase of our project here. So we have been working on something for like a while now. It feels like 2 months, but it was like a whole month and a half of like serious filming.
Yes.
It's basically going to be a reality show type program.
After the month that we had and the time that we spent, I feel like I have vicariously lived through you all.
Right.
And I know that I will never be doing drag. This is something that I know. That's hard work. It's hard work. Long hours, lots of prep. But this experience, like I already respected you guys so much, but it added like this extra layer of like, wow, they can do anything.
So Randyll and all of Peabody TV filmed us for like the entire month of October, and we're trying to create a show that kind of shows off what it takes to pull off everything that we get through in October. And like, it's still like you guys filmed a lot. But you still don't even see all of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's so much that goes into it. But you were with us. Like, the team was there before every show, at the end of every show, times where we're getting ready and we're tired. Like, they were at rehearsals. They were at dance rehearsals. They, like, you guys were with us experiencing, not just, like, talking about our stories, but, like, living the reality of it. And I'm really excited to share with the world, I guess, a little bit more of, like, what happens behind everything, because they just see like glamour or funny or like activists, but they don't see like the work part. Yeah,
there's so much organization that you have to do, and managing of everyone and coordinating, and also just like a lot of like connection with that community, like hands on too. Like it's a lot that you have to do, on top of like getting ready for the event and
like
rehearsing,
performing.
and there's so much more that you have to do.
Of course. I mean, like getting every place approved.
Yes.
Getting every place approved to film, getting every manager to agree that they can film, getting every cast that we are filming, because it's not just a Hometown Queeros. There's lots of special guests. Like, they have to agree to be filmed.
Which I love about your group, is that you're so inclusive to having anyone join and come in. So,
definitely.
Yeah, you always give that platform to others.
Some people would say we don't, but I think that we do a really good job of trying to bring in as many people as possible.
Those silly, silly people. Those silly, silly people.
What was the difference between the documentary versus like filming our reality show? Like, what do you think was like the biggest challenge or the biggest difference between the two?
I think knowing that, I think it was like a lot of backstage moments that we had, and I think managing, okay, what are the cameras that are out during the show getting versus what is backstage getting? Okay, we're running from one day we went. Like the first day I think it was,
that we filmed,
we had like 5 different shoots in one day. And we were like throwing cameras. Okay, you run that way.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, we have that equipment in the car. Go to the car. You got to be back by this time. That was crazy. And then rushing to venues. Yeah.
Oh my God. I don't want to ruin that day, because that was such a good day. That was the first day.
That was a good kickoff. That was a great kickoff. And you know what? It was such a learning curve for us.
Right.
Because
for us
it was
as well.
like in regard to like equipment needs and what works, what doesn't work. Okay, if we have like 2 people over there, can we have 2 people over there? Should we have 3 over there? And just coordinating people and seeing what flowed best. And also, it was a lot of fun.
It was fun.
It was a lot of fun. A little stressful sometimes, but it was like a healthy stress.
I think so.
It was like a motivated stress, and I think it just made it all better.
Yeah, I feel like it did. One of the coolest parts, so I know the day might have to do with the parade, I assume, and I don't want to give anything away, but filming the parade with you got like we're doing the parade and it takes so much to get the parade done, just like the act of like getting all the float and everything ready and like the costume and all that, like, and then you guys filming us on the float in between in the cars, like it was so cool and so crazy because there are so many people, so it's just insane that you guys are kind of like capturing a moment in the middle of chaos that will live forever, and I'm so excited for everyone when we get to that point for everyone to see.
For them to see it.
I know. It's so fun.
I'm like, we're beginning the editing stages, so we got a lot of footage, so we're gonna make something really cool work. But it's intimidating. When I looked back at how much footage we had, I was like, I spent every day with this person.
We spent a whole month, like honestly, a month and a half, pretty much, because you got a lot of the precursor to what would.
We started like a week and a half early, I think. Yeah.
Well, because there's so much to like that whole time, like, and even like the week before that, like there was so much work that goes into letting October even happen. But yeah, I'm excited for people to see that. And like, I think everybody loves you. And like, you know,
I love everybody.
There's been so many incredible people that were involved in the reality show filming, like Bambi and Chola. You got to spend so much time with them.
Yes.
And they love you. They had such a good time with you.
Yeah, it was so nice seeing them like again after the podcast. Because we were both on the podcast. So if you haven't listened, go listen to the podcast.
I have an episode with each of them. The first episode was with Bambi ever.
Yes, it was.
And I think Chola's episode, it could be one of my favorites for sure.
Chola and you had a great conversation too. Yeah.
Well, she's gone through a lot and she's an incredible person. So I was happy you got to film us like rehearsing and get a bit of our backstory, and like they love you, and same thing with the dancers. They love you. You know, everybody loves Randyll.
I love them. It was so nice to be welcomed like into your world and your spaces and everything. And like, it's so great to see the power that goes, there's so much power and effort goes behind everything that you're doing.
Too much.
So much of your bandwidth, and it's just incredible to see what a community connections that you have all supporting you and also you supporting them and vice versa, and everyone just leaning into each other to make something positive work for the community.
It's true. I mean, we couldn't do anything without all of our sponsors, and shout out to Dick Kayan for creating all of these amazing sponsor videos and reels and putting so much time into them, because
those were so funny.
They do such a good job, and that's a whole process too. It's really hard to get all the sponsors and schedule everything and make sure that the businesses are happy and make sure that the hometown queeros are happy and that it's something that we're proud of, and like and then like that we get the money in order to pay our big guests. Like that's why I have the sponsorships are not so we get money. It's so that I can pay Kelly Shoes to be here, or pay Lala Ree to be here, or Jax, or whoever, Landon Cider, or whoever. Like those are what the sponsors are for, so we can have these really cool people be a part of our community, and we couldn't do that without the community support.
Yeah. I think one thing that, you know, you and I definitely agree with is like the importance of collaboration.
For sure.
And how like nothing's going to get done if you are looking at other people as competition.
Right.
The more time that you invest into other pockets and they are investing into you, the more work you're going to get done. And that's kind of how I think any person should exist. Like personally, professionally, like you got to invest in other people, and then you can see what that outcome's going to be.
True. I mean, I feel like a lot of the things that we have done have been like a pure collaboration of meeting of the minds, and like how do you, with all of your knowledge and everything that you offer this community, like connects with what everything that I have to offer and connects with the community, and like put it together, and we have magic, like truly magic, and it's a lot of your hard work. So thank you.
I used to like be that person all the time, like communication's super important. You got to communicate, over communicate, yada yada. But like I've realized like comprehension and collaboration are like my two of my favorite words.
Interesting.
Because you can communicate all you want, but like you have to comprehend what the other person's goals are, what they're struggling with, where they want to go, where they have been, and you need to comprehend that, and so you can work together and create a deeper foundation and keep building up.
I love that.
That's kind of where I'm kind of at. Yeah.
That's beautiful. I want to like keep that in mind.
She has an English minor.
All right. So we talked about like Peabody TV and what you do. So let's talk about like queerness and you, because I know that I'm like time. We're doing good. Okay. I know that this is kind of like a tricky subject for you, because I think that like a lot of people who consider themselves bisexual or pansexual, they feel like othered in the queer community. And I think that this is you were like, oh, do I have a place here? And like that kills me because like you obviously have a place here. Like doesn't matter who you like, what you like. And I think that there's so much otherism. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but in the queer community, gay men don't like there are gay men who hate effeminate gay men because that makes them less than like I mean, same thing with bi people are not a part of no, that's all dumb because it's just like I'm this, you're that. And we are all one. Like to be honest, whatever letter you fall under this gay ass umbrella, like the people that hate us, they all hate us the same. So let's talk about like when did you realize that you were queer or felt like you weren't, I guess, straight?
So I feel like I don't know, being bisexual, I realized that like in middle school, I think that's when I was like, okay, like I'm looking at definitely like some of my friends a little bit differently and some other people in like class and stuff like that. But it was something that like in my town, it wasn't something where like there was not a lot of people who were out. Right. If they were, there was like no gay straight alliance, anything like that, no safe spaces really. So it was definitely something that like I didn't actually come out until I was in college.
Oh wow.
And even when I remember when I was in college, I started dating a boy and then I closeted myself again. And because I was like, okay, well, like, I remember me and a bunch of friends, we were, like, on a trip together. And, like, we were all a bunch of queer people, and I had my boyfriend with me at the time. And my friend, he looks around, and he's like, oh, my gosh, I just realized all of us are gay. And then it was like, oh, my God, like, he's going to know I'm gay. And it was, like, very, like, it was, like, a lot of, like, at my college, there was, like, a lot of, like, hate crimes towards a lot of people who were gay on campus, unfortunately. So there was a lot of that happening. So, like, I feel like I've gone through, like, several periods where I've closeted myself.
Interesting.
Because of, like, other people and what they're going to say and think of me.
Wow.
Because of experiences that I've had in very unsafe communities. So that's why I say to you, like, no, Salem, your space, really great. I'm, like, getting emotional a little bit. I'm sorry.
Because it's hard. I mean...
Yeah.
Not living in fear, like where in your home is just unacceptable. And like, I feel like that's what a lot of people go through, especially if you are pan or bi or whatever it may be. Like you can easily kind of code switch into like what's going to, you can recloset yourself essentially and hide that part away a little bit easier than maybe some other people might be able to. And like, I'm sorry that that's your experience.
Yeah, I mean, like everyone has their own like journeys with it and difficulties with
of
it.
Course.
I remember when I like came out, during college, it was like I went to a Pride event in New York City, and it was so much fun. It was like a Pride march, and then I posted online, hey, I'm bisexual. I'm out and I'm here and I'm bisexual. And then I had, some family members reach out to me and say not so nice things. They're like, oh, it's a phase. It's a phase. You don't really like girls. You don't like girls and stuff like that. And I was like, I haven't spoken to you in like 5 years. Who are you to call me and stuff like that? So that was an interesting experience.
Yeah. It feels weird to even have to display those sorts of things or like kind of like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it feels like immoral, like wrong to have to pronounce it to the world.
And people were like, oh, you should have like done this. You should have done that. Instead of like, I just feel like if I haven't talked to you, me coming out has nothing to do with you. It has to do all about me and what I feel comfortable with sharing.
Right. Especially if they don't even like aren't a part of your life.
Exactly. Yeah. So everyone had their own take and everything. So I'm so happy to like be like fully out, now. And like, it's funny coming into like my queer relationships now are very different than what they were before.
Really?
So it's nice to have that kind of more established in my life.
And do you feel like being out has changed how you live your entire life, like in general? Like, has it changed kind of like how you approach things? Because I feel like there are like, when I hear about people who like down low men who like are hook up with gay people off Grindr, but they're like so scared to be gay, even though they are gay, or they might say they're not, but like you're getting, you're doing stuff in the dark. Like, what is that like lift? Like, what does that weight off your shoulders feel? And like, does that like change your whole life? Like, as far as how you approach life?
Yeah, I just it's so funny. Like after college, like, and I was out in the real world, I was like, I don't need to closet myself anymore and stuff like that. So kind of being free from like these
Education system.
Yeah, it was just like there was like a lot like happening on my college campus at that time. So it was just like very scary. Like every other week, we had like a on campus like paper. It was like, oh, this hate crime happened towards this person. I had like tons of friends in GSA, and I just like kept hearing things, and it was just really upsetting. And then the administration did not do much. So that was pretty upsetting. So like as soon as you get into the real world and out of that, you know, confinement, it felt a lot better.
Well, then you can create your own safe spaces, or you can like, and that's not everyone's story, because, you know, some people like don't have the opportunities to, they might be in like a random part of Louisiana and they can't get close to a queer space, or like, you know, I'm sorry that you coming out was like a long process that had to go back and forth, because that must be so hard to deal with, where you feel like you're finally coming into one thing and then you're like, no, I have to go back to this because this is safety. Like it sounds like your coming in and out of the closet has to do with just like your surroundings and how safe you feel.
Yeah, and you know, like, you know, I'm grateful to be where I am now in my life. I'm grateful that Salem's such a queer community,
right?
And now that I'm out, I'm not going back, and that key's long gone. To that lock to that door.
Oh, the door's
long
open.
Gone. It's open. Yeah, yeah, it's so open. So so I'm so happy to have that. And again, so that's like why it was like so special, like going to your shows and everything like that, is because I saw other people who had those experiences or similar experiences.
Right.
And there's that community through conversation.
Of course.
And also just watching other people in your community who are queer, who are just like saying things that they mean and are like trying to you know, help inspire people to get through their every day.
Right.
Is you know, that's what people need. And so thank you for like always like at the end of your show talking about what really matters in the long game.
Obviously, if you don't feel comfortable answering this question, we can cut it out or whatever. But I feel like I want to ask you this because I think it's important for people who are pan or bisexual, or like, why do you feel like you might feel like you're excluded, or why do you feel like it might not be a space for you? Like, what is the thought process there? Because you're not the first bisexual person or pan person that I've talked to that feels like, oh, I don't feel like I deserve to be in those spaces. So I want to talk about that, because I feel like that's important for other people who might be like you, you know, just to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just because, you know, there are things that, like, as a bisexual person that I would never experience if I was, you know, like fully a lesbian. You know, there's just like a rougher connotation online too, and it's not that anyone else is doing. It's kind of just like more of this like societal hoops that, you know, bisexual people might have to get through.
Yeah.
So it's not like anything specific that is happening in those spaces. It's just kind of like a fear of authenticity, of like being you know, considered authentic in your sexuality.
Wow.
Because like I feel like you know, a lot of it's like you have to be one or the other.
Right.
And that was my fear when I was like in college dating that boyfriend. Like I had to be one or the other. Like I can't be both.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's just like, you know, I think we're all just hopping through hoops just in our own life too, and like a lot of that has to do with like family pressures probably, and pressures in like work life, and like, you know, there's so many hoops that everyone's going through, and I don't think it's has to do anything with the show specifically. And I think just like where I'm from, there was really no community, so I think moving to Salem, I've been in Salem for 2.5 years almost, and I think that really was like, whoa. You know, that was an opening
culture shock for you.
Yeah, a culture shock for sure.
I have a friend that considers himself bisexual, and you know, for a while they have this fear of like almost not being gay enough, and like, you know, just because they might like maybe I guess more traditionally masculine things. Therefore, they don't feel welcomed in like queer, I guess, typically male spaces or like AMAB spaces where like they only think about Lady Gaga and they only think about, and like that's not true because I try to get through to them constantly that like every person is their unique person. Like there is not, you don't need to be one thing or the other, and like that's what makes our community so beautiful, is that like, yes, I'm a drag queen, but like I can play Crash Bandicoot better than you for sure. I can probably beat your ass in Mario Kart for the most part. Like I can do masculine things and do them well. You know, like she's mother, but she's also daddy depending on the day.
That's awesome. Yeah, there's always those boxes. So I think just like as the further we get away from those boxes, because like who actually fits into that? Because everyone has like, you know, everyone has something that they like that, you know, someone might deem a little bit different, and that's what makes us better as humans, is like us all having these differences. I think like you know, for me, like I you know, that's like you know, your friend who, you know, thinks that they're not feminine enough,
or even that they just feel like they don't fit in anywhere. Like they feel like they're not, like, you know, they're not straight passing enough to be straight. They're not gay queer enough to be in with the gay people. Like, you know, it's so interesting, this, like you said, these boxes that people are afraid of. And like
I definitely use humor a lot to deal with that.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't? Welcome to my podcast.
That's like literally the way that I, you know, deal with stuff like that.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
The dog.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just everyone's learning at their own pace. And I think we have to be patient. And, you know, I think once you find that community, like, I think things become a lot clearer, which is so nice. Yeah.
All right. We have to kind of finish up, but I want to ask you, if you had to pick, like, let's say you love horror. We love horror movies. Randyll and I, like, commiserate on horror all the time. I know this is, like, a strange shift, but if you had, like, a top 3, either not horror movies or, like, maybe horror icons, who would they be? Who would they be? Obviously, Ghostface has to be number 1.
Are we going for like villains?
Yeah, whatever you like. Yeah.
Okay. Like, Ghostface definitely in there. I am a big fan of Jennifer Check from Jennifer's Body.
Oh, duh.
So I think that would definitely has to be considered. And then I do love Laurie Strode from Halloween. So I think those would be my top 3. I've seen like all the Halloween movies.
Love them.
The one with Paul Rudd, if you have not seen it, is
There's one with Paul Rudd?
Yeah, it's so weird. He plays the little boy all grown up, and he's like kind of creepy in it, but he's like trying to help her out at the same. It's very interesting.
I need to
it's
see
like
that.
Cult influenced. It's like the 8th one or something like that. There's so many of them. No, that's like a little later.
That's later.
But
I remember it.
But yeah, it's very interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And The Substance. Tell me, did you like it?
I did like The Substance. Like I needed like 3 to 5 business days to process it.
Yeah, same.
Definitely.
Same.
But the commentary was really good, and I loved all the references in regard to shot composition to The Shining.
Agreed.
That was really fucking cool.
Did you like the movie though?
I did.
Okay.
I did like the movie. I kind of had a similar reaction to. It reminded me a lot of the movie Tusk, which is from A24, and it's with Justin Long. It's a really messed up movie.
I'm gonna watch it now.
You're gonna be like, Randyll, what did you
make me watch?
you recommend
I'm
to me?
definitely gonna watch it tonight.
Because it's so strange.
It was giving A24 for sure.
Yeah.
It was giving weird.
Yeah.
I didn't really like it.
You didn't like it?
No, I just thought it was overhyped. Like, I thought everybody was like, Demi Moore's going to win an Oscar. I was like, she was good, but I don't think she's going to win an Oscar.
I don't know. Like, I will have... there are moments that are, like... singed in my brain.
I mean, me too. I thought she was great.
Like, it was yeah.
I thought
she was like the scene with the makeup and everything when she had the date and she was trying to get out the door.
The
like, that was
food,
crazy.
cooking, all that was great. No, like, she was really good.
Yeah.
Did I think she's gonna win an Oscar? No.
It reminded me of like a Black Mirror episode.
Yes, it was. It was just like a long black.
Yeah.
I loved all the art. I loved the close-up shots. I loved how gross they portrayed men.
Yeah.
I did love the art of it. Like, I did love the art of it. I just didn't like the script that much, especially towards the end. I was like, what are we doing here? I just feel like
it
wasn't as
kind
concise.
of like maybe losing maybe the momentum and everything.
It got it got a little too wild.
And I Well, definitely don't watch Tusk then.
Well, I don't mind Wild. I don't mind Wild. Wild's not the issue.
It's a lot of like both movies are very body horror, but body horror is just a hard genre.
It's not my favorite. I don't really like it. I will watch it.
I'm more into like the slashers, the chasers. Yeah. Like I love a good chase scene.
See, I like.
So that's also why I like Scooby Doo.
Yeah. I personally really just like I'm like the Mike Flanagan type of horror.
I love Mike Flanagan.
Yeah, like I really like
Haunting of Hill House.
Yeah,
it's a comfort for me.
Fall of House Usher. Like
I didn't like that one as much. I
just love monologues. Like give me good scary stories. Like I love all his monologues.
Yeah.
And that's very like The Shining.
Like Gerald's Game too. A lot of people don't like Gerald's Game.
I don't like. I like Gerald's Game, but I don't like Gerald's Game.
I just think all of the actors
incredible,
so incredible.
I mean, Carla Gugino.
I have such a crush on her. It's ridiculous. I have such a bad crush on her and Victoria Pedretti, and then his wife.
Yeah.
What's her name?
I know who she is, though. She's in everything.
I follow her on Instagram. I forget her name. I'm so sorry. Mike Flanagan, if you see this.
Mike Flanagan and
He's
all.
He's so smart.
He's from Salem.
So smart. Is he from Salem?
He is from Salem. Let's get him on the pod.
I did not know he's from Salem. No wonder why Haunting of Hill House felt so New England.
Yeah. No, we got to get him on the pod. Or we got to get him
Mike Flanagan.
Mike Flanagan, come here.
Do a deal with Peabody TV if you're done with Netflix.
Fuck Amazon. Come to Peabody TV.
Come to Peabody TV.
We have everything you need. Well, Randyll, it has been amazing to talk to you. It's been amazing to get to know you a little bit better, even though we know each other pretty well at this point. But thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for being like vulnerable and sharing, because it's not easy to do that. And I know
you got me like a little bit almost crying. I'm like, I'm so sensitive. I'm such like a Taurus that way.
I'm more sensitive than people understand. Like people think I'm some super strong, but like I'm actually just kind of a baby.
Yeah. I have like an Aries moon.
Yeah. So I always ask every guest this, unless I forget, because sometimes I forget. What is the thing that makes you feel like the gayest? Like the thing that is like, yes. Like,
I know. I've been thinking about this because I knew you were gonna ask me.
I have to ask
you. So like,
you.
I don't know. Like I have a few different things, and I don't know if they like necessarily make me feel considered like the gayest, but like,
what's the most euphorically?
Definitely like. Wearing like something that is very like just empowering, like getting my nails done is a big thing for my self-care. I love to get my nails done. Wearing like a leather, they're kind of generic.
They're cute.
Right now,
I mean, I'm literally wearing white now because I didn't have anything to match.
Also like a nice leather jacket, a pair of Converse, like being like ready to go, and just kind of like I don't know. I kind of like playing with like a little bit of like masculine outfits sometimes too.
Yeah.
So like I don't know. I just like kind of I don't know. Yeah, I guess
I see the leather jacket and the Converse.
Kind of like the self-care kind of like, okay, like this is like boss mode or like whatever. So, yeah, I think I would go with something like that. Yeah.
The leather jacket and the Converse give you gender euphoria.
They do.
I kind of love that.
Yeah.
I see that. I'm like, I noticed now that you say that, I'm like, oh, like that is Randyll in boss mode. Like that is Randyll.
I was like, she's
mode.
Getting stuff done. But I also love like wearing like my corduroy jacket or like funny sweaters like that. It's just like, I don't know. I like clothing a lot and like kind of playing with my style and kind of what I feel that day and that week. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing everything.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. Yes. I was like so nervous at first, but you made this so easy.
We talk all the time.
I was like, I don't know, I'm behind the curtain.
I was like, Randyll, we literally talk for hours. Like we talk all the time. Like it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. Yeah. You are the best.
Yeah, thank you you're the best. I'm so happy that you had me on.
Anytime. I mean, it's literally our podcast.
It's like
So thank you guys for watching the next episode of Yas Talk, produced by Peabody. Let me try that again. Thank you for coming to watch another episode of Yas Talk with your host, Miz Diamond Wigfall, produced by Peabody TV and our lovely friend Randyll over here. Thank you so much for everything you do. You are the fucking best.
Me. Yeah, no, I'm so happy we get to work together and have fun.
I know.
Yeah, that's the best part.
It's lucky.
Yeah.
We're lucky. All right. Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays.
See you. Happy Hanukkah.